Mini chainsaws seem to be very popular these days, so I wanted to get one and try it out. This one came from Amazon and it's priced at $80. I saw quite a few around that price range. This one came with 2 batteries and that's why I paid a little bit more for it. And all the ones that I looked at were brands that I was not familiar with, none of the big names. So I decided to take a shot buying this one, and there was really no way to tell the difference in any of the off brands. So let's open it up. The major brands like DeWalt, Makita, and Milwaukee all have their versions of mini chainsaws. Although, as you might expect, they are considerably higher in price than this one is. Ryobi also makes one that's around $130, so it's still about $50 higher than this one. And this same model with just 1 battery was about $20 cheaper. Now, the reason that I decided to buy a little bit cheaper mini chainsaw rather than one of the more premium names were for 2 reasons. First, I don't really plan on using this all that much. I do have some small trees and brush that I need to clear. As long as it works as advertised, it should be all I need. The second reason is to see if it really does work as advertised. And that way, you'll know whether or not it's worth buying if you're looking at these. So what all does this mini chainsaw come with? It's got 2 batteries, which are 21 volt, 2500 milliamps. It comes with, I guess this is an extra bar. Yeah, there's already one installed on the chainsaw. So you get 1 extra bar, battery charger, screwdriver, wrench, the chainsaw itself, and 2 extra chains. So this chainsaw actually comes with a fair amount of accessories. Oh, and I didn't mention the carrying case too. So if it works as well as it should, it might be a pretty good value. It does say that it has overcurrent, overvoltage, over temperature, and charging and discharging protection. Even with them stating all of that, I wouldn't personally leave the batteries on the charger unsupervised for any extended amount of time. It also says that it has a high efficiency copper motor for longer runtime and more torque. They said that it has a 12-month standby time. Obviously, I won't be testing that today, but if they did hold a charge for that long, it would make this great to have for emergencies. I don't believe there are any battery level indicators on here. I don't see any. So you won't be able to tell how much juice each battery has. Now, the weight of the chainsaw is 4.75 pounds. That's pretty light, light enough that probably just about anyone could use it. Now, I did look through the manual, and I don't see anything about using oil on the chain other than if the chain is dry that you need to oil it. Of course, there's no oiler on this chainsaw, and it's going to be used for really light duty work. So I've got some 3-in-1 oil that I'm going to use, which I think should be just fine for light duty work, and I'll just try to apply it frequently as needed. So here's a little bit better look at the chainsaw. There's a safety bezel. This is the sprocket cover and also the nut that you'll remove if you need to replace the chain or the bar. It is variable speed. So really there's not a whole lot else to talk about with this, but I am anxious to try it out and see how well it works. So I'm going to go charge up the batteries, get them ready to go, and then we'll try it out. I'm going to put just a little bit of oil around the chain. And first we're going to try the mini chainsaw on some small brush. I'm going to go ahead and oil it again since all this stuff is wet from it just raining. It took a little bit of time, but I think it did a pretty good job cutting this small tree. That one went pretty quick. Okay, first I'll remove the battery, which takes a little bit of effort to get that battery to come off, and also when you put it on, it takes a little bit of effort. I'll take the supplied nut driver and loosen up this nut right here. And I'll pull this piece off. Kind of pretty dirty in there, which is totally to be expected. Kind of clean some of this out while I've got everything off. I've also got a good bit of debris in here, and as I said earlier, it had just rained, so everything that we were cutting was wet. So it's sticking in here worse than it probably normally would. Once you get your chain back on the bar, you're going to line this bolt in this groove and this little silver piece in this hole and slide the back of the chain over the sprocket. Just like that. Then you only need to put your cover back on and reinstall your nut. I wouldn't tighten this down too much because this cover is plastic and I wouldn't want to crack it. Okay, let's see if it works. We're ready to do more cutting. All right, let's finish up this tree real quick. I can't believe how quickly it cut that tree. It's pretty good. It came off track again. You saw when we were cutting those last bushes, the chain came off of the bar again. And there is a way to adjust the chain tension. So I think I'm done cutting for the day. I am going to go ahead and adjust that chain tension. There's a screw right here. I'm going to tighten it just a little bit. Okay, that's definitely a tighter fit than what it was earlier. I think I'm going to, can I get that in there? Now that's on, I'm going to give it just a slight turn. So now that I've had a chance to really try the mini chainsaw out and test how it works, I'm pretty impressed with it. It cut trees up to about 2.5 inches in diameter. And the first tree that we cut when the chain initially came off, we should have put a little tension on that tree, pushing it over a little bit to keep it from binding up on the chain, and it may have not been a problem at that point if we had did that. But for the price of the mini chainsaw, I think it works pretty good. I didn't really have anything bigger to try it on. I didn't want to cut down any of the larger trees, and I didn't have any large logs or anything around, but it's not something that I would cut bigger logs or trees with anyway, because it's really not designed for that. But for the small brush and the small trees, I think it worked pretty good. I'll put a link in the description of this video in case you're looking for one of these mini chainsaws and you wanted to try this model. But as an overall, I'm pretty satisfied with it and pretty happy with how it worked. The only thing at this point that I'm not really sure of is battery life. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, I bought this particular model because it came with 2 batteries. But they do also offer it with just 1 battery. But the battery lasted plenty long enough for us to do what we wanted to do with it today. That's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it or found it informative, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.